This is A Game. Fast acting, long lasting, with no side effects.
Hey, all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly value, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hey there, my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel. I'm your host, femininity coach, and author of the Crimson Cure, and this is my perspective. So I'm talking about this whole we're single by choice that Black women always like to talk about, and they like to say when, they are getting caught up in the whole why are you single kind of situation when they don't have a man and they talk all this crap on the internet. And I got a real interesting clip that I got. Shout out to Lapeef Network, the show that they recently just did. I do believe on Sunday they did it. And this was something that I thought was really important and something that I wanted to bring to everybody's attention. Mr. Logic was pretty much dropping facts, and I was really not so much, well, I was kind of impressed with it, but it was a really good conversation, and we're gonna go ahead and break it down. So it's about 2 minutes or so long. I'm gonna go ahead and play it, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna cook. So let me go ahead, let me get this together, and here we go.
A woman purpose is to be a wife and a mother, right?
Okay.
When you're telling me and you're saying it comfortably that you're single by choice, that means it's men out here that want to marry you, correct?
Correct.
That's showing you that we live in a hoe culture. Not saying you're a hoe, but I'm saying the culture we live in will have you say stuff like that. That I can be married tomorrow if I wanted to, Mr. Logic. I'm choosing not to. I'm choosing to be Cardi B. I'm choosing to be Meg Thee Stallion. I'm choosing to exist in a hoe culture instead of, but I guarantee you this, if we had a wife culture, you would never say that. You would have jumped on it and got married already.
But let me tell you something. There's a certain
lies. And
no, but there's a certain thing too.
Go ahead, Siobhan.
Go ahead, Hank. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, keep living a lie, and y'all dudes keep lying to these hoes.
Let me tell you
something. Be right.
So I gotta cut you off right there, okay? I didn't even want to let you finish because Hank, you've been at my throat all night. But I'm gonna tell you this now, right? We don't want to be single. We don't want to be single. But at the end of the day, when some of us get proposed to, okay, it don't be the right man, okay? And I'm not gonna say yes to a man that doesn't respect me, that doesn't love me, that doesn't do what he needs to do. No, I'm not doing that. No.
Then if he's not the right man, how do you stay that long enough to propose to?
I'm not gonna say yes.
Can I go after Ricky? Can I go?
Hold on, Siobhan, because
I want to go after Ricky.
Because I think Hank had an important question. Go ahead, Hank. What was that question you just asked?
How did he stay around long enough to propose to you if he wasn't the right man?
Right. So it comes down.
Okay, so I'll stop sharing that. So I thought that was a really good clip. And the reason why I wanted to bring that clip to you is because this is something that Black women like to say. They like to say, oh, I'm single by choice. There's actually all of these different men who would love to marry me. We're in it. But I'm saying, no, I'm the one turning them down. It's not that they're not there. It's that I'm deciding that I'm going to do it. Now, just to give you a little bit of context on that part of the conversation, that part of the conversation was pretty much like wife culture versus thought culture, and the fact that the black culture and the Black community support the thought culture rather than the wife culture. And Logic actually made some pretty good points. I'm not going to play the clips here, but he actually made some pretty good points when he was sort of referencing the value system and how our value system got broken. So I thought that was really interesting. However, let me get to this part of the segment right here. Single by choice actually implies that there are men or a man who is invested enough in you that he has proposed to you, or he has expressed his clear intent to marry you, marriage with you. Okay? To turn this down flatly for more than one man or more than one time actually expresses the preference for being single. So now what we got to do is we got to examine, since Black women are saying, you know what, I could get married, the men are there, I'm just turning them down. Now, this is a complete contradiction from the fact that sometimes when Black women will say, well, the reason why we're not married is because the men are not around. The types of men to get married to are not around. So therefore, we can't get married because the men who are available are ineligible for one reason or another for marriage. So now let me kind of just break it down, because at the end, she kind of told on herself a little bit. And talking about it's not the right man, but we're going to get to that at the end. Okay, so if you are not ready to be married, you are single by choice, you are basically saying that there are men lined up around the corner who are waiting to marry you, but you have turned down their proposal because you are not ready to be married. These are the things that Black women say a lot, because a lot of Black women don't have any understanding of men. This along with another thing that she said that I'm going to get to, really lets me know, and should let everybody else know, that Black women don't know what men do. They don't know how they think. They don't know how they act. So they will say these little scenarios based on how women would do things, but men don't do things that way anyway at all. So here's what I'm talking about. If you are in a situation where a man is proposing to you, that means several things. The first thing that means is that there was a relationship in place and established that preceded this proposal. Okay? There was a relationship going on. Men do not up and just see a woman and don't know her and just really propose to her like for real. There's only a couple of instances. Like, the only times I can really think of that is when Muslim brothers do it to me. They'll say, you know what, I'm expressing my intent to marry you. After that comes the courtship. If I agree to that man and his stated intent right up front, and I say, okay, well, I can be interested in marrying you too as well. Let's go ahead with the courting so that we can see if the marriage is possible, or if we would be compatible with marriage, or if it would work. But that's just the Islamic way of doing things. However, when everybody not Muslim. So when we are saying this much in the world that we live in, where everybody ain't Muslim, that was a relationship. So what you're telling me is that y'all are running around here stringing these men along, getting into whole relationships, knowing full and well that you don't want the conclusion of that relationship, which would be marriage. You don't want that. You want to be single. Yet you are in these relationships with these men, acting as if you don't want to be single, acting as if you actually want a relationship with this man. Correct? Because how else are we getting to the point where a man is either dropping down on one knee proposing to you, or the conversations are serious? He's not saying, oh, I would like to be married one day. No. He's saying, listen, it's you. I've picked you to be my wife. These are the plans. This is what I'm doing. Like, we know when it's serious and we know when it's not. So you basically telling me that you're engaged in every activity and every conversation that leads down the path to marriage, but when we get to the actual proposal, you're saying no. So you playing games with these men out here. Is that what I'm hearing? Is that what I'm hearing? Right. So we didn't think about that, because we're thinking again how men actually approach situations, and men don't approach situations like women do. That's something that a woman would think of. Men don't actually do that. Okay. We're not talking about, you know what I'm saying, possible people who may have an issue online just in your DMs liking pictures talking about marry me. We're not talking about that. We're talking about actual proposals that can be taken seriously. So that's number one. The next thing is what you're saying is what Mr. Logic actually said. You're telling me that despite the opportunity to be covered and protected by a man, despite the opportunity to have a man in your life that is going to provide, problem solve, protect, and procreate with you, you would rather be out here, just floating along with whomever, rather than actually take the stability of a man that's coming along in your life to say, I'm going to be stable in your life. I want to be your husband. I'm going to give you, all of these things that out of one man, so you don't have to go around and get this stuff, get 1P from this guy, 1P from the other guy, and all this type of stuff. I'm going to consolidate the 4Ps for you so that we can actually be a couple. You mean to tell me that you prefer the transaction then, is what you're saying. You actually don't prefer the stability of a marriage. You're not preferring the stability of the kind of man that is actually looking to marry you. You don't want commitment. You're gun shy. You have commitment issues. That's what you're telling me. And y'all think it's a good flex, but it's a weird flex to say, I'm single by choice. Weird flex, but okay. That's why it sounds funny. That's why every time y'all say it, everybody call cap, because we know how men operate. We know how women actually operate. We know how relationships actually go. Okay, so nobody's dumb, right? So you got commitment issues, but y'all like to blame the men for being players, okay? The other thing is you're telling me you like the transaction. And the reason why you like the transaction so much, you prefer being single, is because there's no real standard or expectation here. The only thing that you need on the open dating market where you don't have any intent or get married, the only thing that you actually need is just to look good enough for some man to want to smash you. That's not a high standard for any woman to achieve. Really, all you got to be is clean, look halfway decent, or whatever. And you can find some type of man that will want to have sex with you in a transactional way and not in a relationship setting. Like, that's not hard to find. In today's thought culture, whore culture, hookup culture, that is not difficult. People are looking to do that. Okay, which was another point that Logic brought up. And the other thing is this. I'm gonna translate something real quick. I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna do a translation. The other thing is that there's no value for marriage and family in the thought culture and the whore culture. And so therefore there's no real thought about the bond that it creates, and that because there are too many standards that's required for you to be a good wife and a mother, that's too much work for thoughts in a thought culture and this microwavable type of culture where we get stuff instant gratification. So therefore, women nowadays can't be bothered to do these wife duties. That's why they got all of these derogatory terms about it. So it's easier to just, be a whore. It's easy to just be a 304, because nobody expects anything more out of you than your sex and all of this type of stuff. Now, for the translation, when Miss Siobhan said that it's not the right men, okay, the first thing she said that didn't make a whole lot of sense was, I'm not going to say yes to a man that doesn't respect me and that this doesn't do that in a third. Why are you in a relationship with this man? Why have you been in a relationship with a man like that for so long that it gets to the point of proposal, but this man has not been the right man? This man has been disrespectful to you. This man has been abusive to you in some way. This man has not shown you the qualities that you need to see in order to say yes to a relationship or a marriage. So why were you in a relationship long enough for him to get to a proposal? Which is the question that the other young man asked. Now, for translation real quick, when she said it's not the right men, I'm going to translate that. Translation is, we like F boys, okay? We like them guys. We like those guys, but they're not really stable for long-term commitments and marriages, okay? They got great sex, and they might even have other qualities that we find redeemable, potentially good. We see the potential of them being good men, okay? But the potential is unrealized. We don't really know how to bring that stuff out of a man or whatever. So what we do is we'll go ahead and we know these men are broken, but we got to try to fix them. Okay, we got to try to fix them because we want these dudes to be marriage material, but the reality is that they're not marriage material. So the one thing that we do is we go ahead and we give these guys babies, right? A lot of us go ahead and give these guys kids. That's where it come from. That's where the kids come from. We do this in order to try to mature him, to make him become the man that we would want to marry. Point is, the problem is 9 times out of 10, that don't work. So we just had these babies by these men. And that's why when people ask us, well, why come things didn't work out with your baby daddy? That's why we be frowning up and scrunching our nose up, because we know that we already tried that. And the baby was the last resort. And that didn't mature him. And then he just kept on playing and being an F-boy that we knew that he was to begin with. But so we just had to eventually leave that alone. Now, that's why we're not married to the baby daddies. So the men who are stable enough that want to marry us are not broken enough for us to accept them, but we're too broken to accept them, which is why we don't actually go with them dudes. So we play around and we play around until we hit the wall, until we too old, until we got too many kids and all of this type of stuff. And we just realize that the F-boy just ain't going to be that guy. So then that's when we quote unquote settle for the other guy who always was stable, who always was going to give us the life that we wanted. It just wasn't in the package that we wanted, meaning it wasn't the guy that we wanted to look at and wake up to and, have sex with every night. That wasn't that guy. That's the translation, because there ain't no such thing as you been in a relationship this whole time and this man been no good and we got to the point of a proposal and you had to say no because he no good. Why was you there to begin with long enough to be in this relationship for him to get to a proposal, girl? Boop, if you don't knock it off. So I just wanted to point that out. That was a real good clip. I wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. The other thing I want to bring to the attention is we finally crossed the 4,500 mark for the signatures for the Black Lives Matter petition that we have. So the link to that petition is in the description box. If you want to hold Black Lives Matter responsible and accountable for the money that they stole from the Black community, all you got to do is sign the petition, share it on your social media, and also contribute to it if you can. Also, sound off in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you've not. Once again, I'm your host of Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.
Hey guys, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. And if you've got more to say on the topic, leave a comment down below. Also, don't forget to support our sponsor, who so graciously supports this channel by clicking the description box and the link for A-Game at agameherbal.com. You can go ahead and get a 10% discount off of your next purchase using the code Kendra10. This has been yet another Crimson Cure production, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.